Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. We have just recently wrapped up another edition of Sundance, the last year that the film festival will be held in Park City, Utah. It's longtime home for 40 plus years. I wasn't able to go to the festival in person this year. I went the previous year, so I'm very happy that I had that experience at Park City at least once. But I got to watch a couple of different movies online this year, and so I kind of wanted to chat with you about some of my favorites from the festival, some that you should definitely keep your eyes out for, and ones to watch when they eventually, hopefully, get picked up in theaters, streaming services, whatever it may be. I kind of slacked a little bit with my Sundance watching this year. I don't know, it was just so busy. I just kind of was, I don't know, not really in a great mood for it too, just because of, you know, life, the world, etc. So even though I didn't get to watch the usual like 15, 20 movies that I try to cram in during a few days with the viewing window, I am still very thankful to the movies that I did watch and kind of help distract me a little bit from what was going on. So I'm going to go through my top 5 movies of Sundance this year. It's a bit of a eclectic mix, I would say, but I think these are some pretty good heavy hitters. Number 5, I have a Polish documentary called Closure. It follows a father who is desperately trying to find answers about his missing son. His son woke up very early one day. He went to this one river in Poland, and for 20 minutes, people don't really know what happened to this young man. Did he jump into the water? Did he walk off and decide to run away from home? Did someone take him, kidnap him? There are really no answers. Security footage is not really available to provide those answers. And so, understandably, this family is just trying to figure out any type of explanation for what could have happened. We get to see a very determined father go out onto his speedboat and comb through this river every single weekend, I'm sure multiple times a week. It's a very moving documentary in a number of ways. I mean, I think it shows just the sheer determination that a parent's love has for their child and how they are willing to do anything to bring them home, find answers, find that piece of closure that they have not been granted thus far. And so I think that a lot of people will gravitate toward this film and just feel for Daniel and his wife. It does become a little bit repetitive, and it's kind of in its nature. It's showing the repetitive way that this man has to keep trying to find his son. He has to keep going to same parts of the river, combing it over, waiting for the tide to pull out so that he can comb through another area. It's very cyclical in its nature. And so I know that some people might not enjoy that, but I think that really shows the determination that this family has. But this is a very cinematic documentary. Within like the first, I think it's like 10 minutes before the actual title slide comes on, I kind of had to ask myself, am I watching a documentary? Like the visuals were so good, the audio work was crazy good. It was so impressive. So hats off to the director Michael Marczak. I think he did a fantastic job with those elements. Number 4, I have The Huntress or La Cazadora by Suzanne Andrews Correa. This is a film set in the border city of Juarez, Mexico in 2013. And this is a town that experiences a lot of violence against women, and the local law enforcement officials do not really seem concerned about doing anything to put a stop to this. And so one woman, played by Adriana Paz from Emilia Perez, she decides to do something, and she kills a bus driver who most recently raped one of her coworkers. And it is a film that is about revenge and vengeance and trauma, and also trying to protect the ones you love, even if you may be putting them in even more danger than before. I mean, this is a really mature directorial debut. I think it tackles some really important systemic issues, not only those here in this Mexican city, but certainly those felt everywhere and in today's society. So I really commend her for digging deep with this film. And I just really, really enjoyed Adriana Paz's performance in this film. She didn't really get a big meaty role in Emilia Perez, but I feel like with this film, she is able to just capture the ferocity of women and mothers, and she's able to also show so much vulnerability and how much pain she's hiding inside because she has also unfortunately experienced violence in recent years. And I just think it's a really, really wonderful role that she gets to inhabit. Even though she runs away after killing this bus driver, the police are kind of onto her, especially this one detective who just kind of shows that machismo quality and is really an overbearing and powerful presence who abuses his power. And we see that in a couple of different scenes in this film, especially one that just like really made me so angry involving her daughter. And I was just really taken by this film and the direction and the different stories. There is one character who her daughter has been missing for a really long time, and so she is like scouring obsessively to find any evidence or clues about where her daughter may have gone. There are other groups of parents who she takes out into the desert to also try to look and find for any clues for their disappearances. So there is just something so meaty with this film that I think it's able to get at that I just really, really enjoyed. So definitely be on the lookout for this one. Number 3, Nuisance Bear. This is another documentary, although again, when you start watching it, you kind of wonder, is this real? There's no way these visuals are real. It's a film showing humans and nature constantly at odds, and in this instance, the humans in this one polar bear capital of the world town in Churchill always impeding upon where the polar bears live. Dozens of tourists are coming to see them. There is bear patrol that are always like pushing them out of people's backyards and dumps and all of these different areas. And, you know, this film will just really make you so sad when you watch it because these polar bears, they didn't ask for this. They didn't force the people to build their town so close to where their migratory path is. So these animals are like just they have nothing to do. Like I just feel so bad for them. And also so much of climate change is shown in this film because the regular ice sheet that is formed, it's forming later and later. And so that's why so many of these bears have to be on land because they can't go out into the water and hang out in the ice fields because it's just not freezing as quickly and as well as it used to. So it's a great film in terms of showing, again, our climate crisis and it constantly getting worse and worse. And of course, the humans versus nature battle that is never ending. There is another part to this film, and that is with the Inuit people and in their community. It's really showing us quite an interesting way of how these two towns react to the polar bears. There is a narrator who is speaking the native language of the Inuit people, and he says that, we never want to see a polar bear. No one has ever said, like, oh, I really want to see a polar bear, because by the cruel way that fate works, it means you might see it when you least expect it and when you least want to see it. And so in their town, they are constantly getting these bears helicoptered in from Churchill, and there's like no communication whatsoever with the two towns about how it's probably going to be impacting the native people. And we see these bears are like walking up and down their streets, they're in their trash, they are in the dumps, they are sometimes even attacking people and children, and nobody seems to know how to handle this issue. So I thought that that was a really fascinating look at the cause and effects from one and how it bleeds into the other. And I really wish that this documentary honestly kind of spent the whole time with the Inuit people. I just found that the narration provided so much knowledge and just a really interesting way of looking at these animals, and of course the natural connections between these native people and the land and how they view animals in general. I thought that that was a really wonderful addition to the film, and just kind of wish that more of it had been like that. Number 2, Josephine. This was the big winner at Sundance. It won both the audience award and I think the main prize. So that was massive for Beth de Araujo, who really finds a very mature, very tough to watch in a lot of ways movie. And this one is about a young girl named Josephine, an 8-year-old, who witnesses a very brutal assault in the park with her dad. And she doesn't know how to process this. Her parents aren't really equipped to handle and talk about this, and their kind of options are more or less not even talking about this with her. And it leads to her dealing with a lot of emotional trauma and conflict and acting out, and it's a hard watch. It's, I'm sure for a lot of parents out there, they watch this and they are sweating and they're getting frustrated with how these parents are handling things, but it's a very, very important and good film to watch too. Mason Reeves, who plays the young girl, I thought that she was wonderful. Yes, this girl did get on my nerves pretty much all throughout this movie, but it's not her fault. It's because Mason had such a great performance, and I thought that that was a great discovery for this movie. Channing Tatum, I'm really enjoying what he has been doing lately. This and Roofman, I thought were really great performances from him. Gemma Chan as well, as playing this mother who is also like so confused and at odds with everything. So I think this is a really great trio that is leading this film. There is one directorial flourish that keeps happening throughout the film that I found to be really effective, and that goes back to Beth's work and just how strong of a vision she had for this movie and how it really all worked perfectly. Like I said, I was pretty much frustrated with almost everything that a character either said or did in this movie, because it's like, why is nobody talking to anyone? Why are they not just, being open and honest with each other? But at the same time, how do you talk to a very young, impressionable child about these things? Clearly, the answer is not just don't talk about it at all, but you also have to be very careful with the way that you discuss this. And I mean, as it shows in this movie, kids will find out in their own way, and then they will start talking about these things, and it's going to get them in trouble because they don't understand it. Other people, aren't clued into what happened. So I just think that this is a really great, like, parental film and family drama, and one that, is going to open up a lot of conversations about how do we talk to our kids about all of this stuff in the age of social media when so much is available to them, but maybe they're afraid to talk about it, or the parents don't know how to do it. So I really commend Beth for making a really, really strong film. And finally, my top film from Sundance is Seized. Wow, who would have thought that a documentary about journalism would get the journalist to really like it? But this film is about a small town newspaper in Kansas that was kind of like at the center of a storm because police raided its newsroom, it raided its editors and 90-something-year-old co-owner's home. It was a mess, and if you are going to pick a fight with someone, don't make it journalists, because they know what is right and wrong. And boy, do these journalists show these people just how in the wrong they were with this. I think this is a great documentary because it not only speaks to the power of the press, standing up to bullies, showing what so many newsrooms, both big and small, are dealing with when it comes to, just pushback and the media landscape and the public and the opinion of them. And then at the same time, it is such a great specific film about one group, one area, and there are so many hilariously bitchy people both in the newsroom and in the town. And I think this is a great showcase of just all of the different types of personalities that you find in areas such as this. One of my favorite moments from this documentary is kind of like the introduction to the editor, who is smoking outside, and next to him is a bucket full of cigarettes, like just completely full, almost overflowing. I just thought that that was a great visual representation of being a journalist. It's very enlightening. It's one that makes me proud to do the work that I get to do. Thankfully, I'm not having to deal with a raid, but it's great to know that there are people like Eric, like the people in his newsroom who know that they're standing up for freedom of the press, and that means something to them. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 films from Sundance this year. I missed quite a few. Olivia Wilde had a couple of pretty awesome movies that I'm really excited to see. I Want Your Sex and The Invite. And then I didn't get a chance to see If I Go, Will They Miss Me on the online platform. And that one had me very excited, both with some comparisons to Barry Jenkins and his work. So I'm very excited to see that one. Let me know what some of your favorites were from Sundance or some movies that you're excited to see, and I will chat with you next time.